Hello guys, welcome to this episode of the Minority Report. My name is Walter.
My name is Chidozie.
So, a while ago, that was this year, right? God, it feels like such a long time ago. I was a guest on the off-air show with Tools and Remy, and it was a very fun episode, a very fun interview, even on air and off air. And during the reason why I want to talk about in this show was advised by something that happened after the camera stopped rolling during that off air interview. I was talking with Tools and Benny, and
see your name dropping.
Please, it's easy. So we're talking about Tools she brought up something about that had to do with the Love Island, I think, that reality show that was matching couples.
Love is Blind.
Oh, Love is Blind. There's love in
There's
it.
love.
And it made Love is Blind, and it made a really huge
ripple.
Yeah, when especially that had to do with bisexual character, the man who came out to his match and told her that he's bisexual, and all that. And so Tools essentially, she wanted to have a conversation with me about what I thought about bisexuals. She asked me if I thought that bisexuals should come out to their partners.
And what did you say?
I said no, I don't think so. I don't think they should come out to their partners. And she was like, her mind was blown.
My mind is blown too. But go on.
But yeah, I do not think it's relevant for bisexuals to come out to their heterosexual partners. Not really, just the partners, really. I know that the general sentiment is that whenever you're queer and you are going into a relationship with someone who's not queer, you should be upfront about your sexuality. I think that is true for a gay person who is trying to, go under the cover of marriage. I, however, do not think it should be a must or an expectation for bisexuals, because, and my reason is just basically simple and maybe naive, but I feel like if you're bisexual and you have made the decision to love somebody of the opposite sex, then is there really any point to cause all the tension that will come up with, oh hey, by the way, I'm also attracted to someone who's not of the opposite sex. It really makes, because we're talking about you loving someone. It's all in your reasoning, both men and women.
That's the thing. I think the need to disclose information is predicated on homophobia. The existence of homophobia. And my position is, it depends on the context. It depends on, first of all, it depends on the sort of relationship, right? I think, for example, if you're going to marry somebody, that is something you will need to disclose. I feel like, that's something, it's something that could be an issue, and it's something that, if you're going to go into, it's a long-term commitment, I feel like you need to know that the person you're going into that sort of commitment with is, I don't use the word okay with it, like you need to
I think it's even especially because it is a long-term commitment you're getting into with someone. It's especially because you have seen this person and you want to stick with this person for the long haul, as long as you both shall live. I think it's especially because of that it's not really necessary to come out to
but if it's
partner, because
what if it's a case where if the person found out about that, they would then not want to make that commitment with you? Yes, they're being homophobic in that instance, but is that not something that should be considered in making this sort of commitment? Because I think the point you make
I think the point you make when for some reason your partner finds out that you're bisexual, I think the point you make is simply, well, there wasn't any, the reason why I didn't bring it up was because it wasn't that important. Like, it's not not important. Of course, who you are is important. It's not important in the context that if we never talked about all the girls that I slept with, what's the point in bringing up, oh, but there were some guys too?
My thing is, as a bisexual person, do you really want to be married to somebody who's homophobic? Is that really something you want?
No, it's not about homophobia.
That is what it is, because what the person is going to, like,
see, I don't think, homophobia, yes,
yes, exactly. So that is going to be like, we cannot talk about this, outside of the context of our society.
I feel like when you are the homophobia, I don't think, in saying, of course, do you really want to be married to someone who's homophobic? Of course, nobody who's queer affirming wants to be married to someone who's homophobic. But I don't think the homophobia in this context isn't about, this is who you are and I hate the gays, or I hate what you've done, or I find it very sinful, or all that. I feel like it is a way to not create the unnecessary tension that comes from your partner being plagued with the societal induced discomfort of, oh, he's being with guys, or oh, she's being with women.
It's not better to deal with it and then move past it.
Always better to deal with it and move past. In an ideal world, people just want to have those things that out in the open and then they move on from it. But the point here is not about an ideal world. The point is, if you could keep something from your relationship that ultimately contributes nothing but so much tension and negativity to it, wouldn't you do that? Because technically a bisexual I believe that a bisexual not coming out to the partner and saying, hey, I am bisexual, that's really just not a lie. I think
it's a lie by omission. I mean, you and you said something earlier about first of all, you said it would be a big deal if the person were homosexual marrying, but I sort of feel like it's the same thing. I think you were saying something earlier about if you're not disclosing, if you're not talking about all the girls you slept with before, why do you need to bring up the one guy? Why do you need to bring up the guys you've been with and all whatnot? But I think sexual sexual orientation is a lot more complex. That it's not necessarily about who you have slept with. I think it's more definitive than that. There are heterosexual men who have been with men. That is not an issue because this person is heterosexual.
That is what it comes down to.
Yeah, but as somebody who is bisexual, I feel like it is something that is really definitive, and really in a homophobic society, attracting to same sex, or the propensity to be attracted to people of same sex is not a negligible thing. And I think that is something that is important enough to bring up if you're going to make a long-term commitment also. And the other reason why I bulk at this is this sort of notion also contributes to bi erasure. I think it should be normalized, the idea that somebody who's bisexual can get married to somebody who's heterosexual and all whatnot. Like it should be the idea. It should normalize that bisexual people can build long-term committed relationships based on fidelity and all whatnot with anybody else. Because I sort of feel like the underlying sentiment there is bisexual people, because of being attracted to people of both sexes, somehow means that it's impossible for them to be faithful. I think there's a bit of underlying in the sense because I mean, for the person who is going to be bothered, that even though you've made a commitment to me, I'm going to be looking over my shoulder at every guy, or I'm going to be looking over my shoulder at every woman. That's right? The reality. But the person,
I'm just saying,
what they will not when somebody who is heterosexual makes a commitment to woman, like, you are not that pressed about you're not looking over your shoulder at every other.
Of course not.
Yeah. So why is that the case here?
You are idealizing this.
Okay.
What I'm preferring here is this to cushion the reality of certain situations.
Yeah.
Where
what are the certain situations?
in situations where you are a bisexual person who is looking to make a long-term commitment with an opposite sex person.
Okay. Is that an impossible thing for a bisexual person to do, to make a long-term commitment?
Of course not.
Okay.
That's not I feel like you're twisting me out to be some sort of this is not what I'm saying.
No, it's not what it is. I'm just trying to follow this.
Here's the
logic.
Thing. I am not trying to say that it's impossible.
Yeah.
I am saying that when you are, on the contrary, I'm acknowledging that it is actually quite possible for bisexual persons to make long-term commitments with members of the really any partner that they choose to be with.
So how does partner know that you're bisexual in the first place? How then this partner don't not think, okay, this is another heterosexual person? And that is how bi-erasure works.
It's I wish there was a way to say this thing. Let me try and be as concise as I can. When you are, it's okay. This isn't about any movement thing. This is about a person who has come to the realization that the person that they are with, let me say for specific purposes, a man who's been with his girl and they're about to get married, and he has, of course, these people, usually queer people, have a feeling for these things, for the kinds of people that their partners are, whether opposite sex or same sex, and you find out, you have the feeling that this is the way your woman would react with tension and with discomfort when it comes to a situation where she finds out that you are bisexual or you have been with men. I'm just saying, in the interest of I want to be with this person, and at the same time I do not want to cause undue stress on this relationship. So is there really any point to come out to the person when you already know that you're making a lifetime commitment with this person? It buttresses the fact that it is possible for you to be with this person for the long haul.
I think what we are doing here, what we are calling undue stress, is important to know that what you are calling undue stress, and we call it undue stress, what you are doing is exactly, we are normalizing it. We are normalizing.
No, not normalizing. Excusing homophobia. It's not normalizing.
I don't even think it's so much excusing as normalizing, because then there are two things that are being normalized here. The possibility that, a bisexual person could feel shame about being attracted to people of the same sex, like that's always a possibility. But in saying that they don't need to disclose anything, like, we are normalizing that sort of shame where it exists, number one.
Come on.
And we are also, no, but it's true.
That is not, no. I really, the mental picture I have when I am saying this,
so somebody who
doesn't see the person as somebody who's ashamed of who he is.
Then why can you not talk about this issue? Why is it something that is an undue stress?
This isn't about
if you are comfortable.
This isn't about the bisexual person.
Then great. Why can he not go over this with this other person who we are also assuming is a rational person who has a good head on his or her shoulder? So why do we need to cushion? You are trying to build a relationship with somebody you cannot even afford to be honest with, and that's something that is okay.
Listen. This guy has been twisted in knots. First of all, the bisexual person I have in my head when I'm answering this question isn't ashamed of who he is.
But okay, let's look at the sort of bisexual people we have in our context with TMR Nigeria. The sort of bisexual people we have in Nigeria, they aren't ashamed of who they are.
Of course, the ones I know are.
So this is
no. Let's not.
I just feel.
I'm thinking about this in a utopian sense.
Yeah, I think, me personally, I think sexual orientation, and like I said earlier, while acknowledging that the reason why this disclosure is even necessary in the first place is as a result of the fact that we live in a homophobic society, that acknowledged, I think sexual orientation is still very definitive in such a way that it's something that your partner, and I say it's in context of, like wanting to build a long committed relationship. It's not some random some random person you meet at the club or any such thing. That's not what I'm referring to here. There's no, of course, I don't think there's any need to bring that up in those kind of instances. But if you're going to build a relationship with somebody that is going somewhere, you have, I sort of feel like it's something that is very important. It's so important that you cannot afford to omit it and then say, oh, it's because I'm just attracted to people of both sexes and it doesn't matter anyway. It might not matter to you, but it could matter to the other person. And if it really doesn't matter to you, I think you should be comfortable enough to bring to the other person. This is somebody you are trying to bring into your life and you're trying to come into their own life too. This is something that could cause a breakup if the other person is homophobic, right?
Yes.
So if you are going into a long-term relationship knowing that there's something that you are inadvertently hiding from a partner who if they knew about that thing would probably not be in a relationship with you, that is at best lying by omission.
But here, okay, this is a very, very very weak comparison. But is it not a man who has been very, very sexually active with women, who has a very checkered history of sex with women, and then he meets the one in this Hollywood-esque setting of romance, and they embark on a relationship, and he doesn't tell her, a woman, and he doesn't tell her.
Are you not seeing? Okay.
No, I'm trying to say, and he don't. I'm admitting that it's a very weak comparison, but I'm just trying to talk about. I'm trying to talk about how the import of past sexual history on current relationships, like what really is the importance, the prevalence of past sexual relationships on a current relationship that you see going somewhere for the long haul.
But sexual orientation is not just about
sexual. No, it's not. But when that's what it always comes down to when you start talking about it with people, with your partner. When you are telling, in a worst case scenario, when you're telling your partner, if you're a woman who's telling your partner that yes, I have been with girls. Worst case scenario, what he starts to see is somebody who could potentially fulfill his fantasies about women on women's sex. When you're a man who's telling your,
but that's not like, that's sort of like a blanket statement. Now,
I'm not saying that. Okay. I'm saying I'm citing worst case scenarios here.
Okay.
And when you are a man who tells a woman, she begins to imagine worst case scenario. She imagines that every man that you people come across is somebody you are going to potentially share. It is always about the sex.
And to be fair, there are heterosexual women who are into that kind of thing. I'm just saying.
Oh, good for them. But the point is, it always comes down to the sex. We know it is not about the sex, but it is the sex that becomes the issue here. And what do
we do to issues? We just throw them under the carpets and we don't address them. And that's how couples do.
I give up.
No, like
my point
why try to circumvent this instead of addressing it? Why is that the go-to? Like, okay, I'm not going to deal with this because I expect that this is going to be an issue. If that's an issue, deal with it. That's what being in a relationship is about.
What? Okay. Oh, jeez. Look, this episode is essentially a question.
Exactly.
What do you think?
Let us know in the comments. Let us know on Twitter, Facebook.
Bisexuals, it's an expectation for a bisexual person to come out to their opposite sex.
I think it's necessary.
And if you do or you don't, what's your reason for what you think?
Speak on it in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and like our video. Until we come your way next time, I'm Chidozie.
And I'm Walter.
Toodles.